what do we think about Dean Evason? Is he like safe? Is he on the hot seat next year? Is he someone that you think shouldn't be with the team?
Yeah, it's so weird. That's another weird one too, because like the one quote so we'll talk about Bill Guerin's comments after in a sec here. I haven't actually sat down and listened to the whole thing at all, so we'll tee up Hoppy and he's gonna let me know what we'll go from there. But the one quote that I agree with is like, this guy's had like 2 complete injury ridden lineups for 2 years and has gotten us to over 100 points in both seasons. And like, so in that, it's hard to like knock him too much. But I mean, when you go back to back, you make the same exact mistakes. And again, like some of the shit this year in the playoffs was so like juvenile, where it was, you can't just like swallow your pride for one press conference about refereeing. You can't like make a little minor adjustment. Like, yes, I know the Minnesota Wild have to play with grit first, or they have to hit everything that moves for them to be who they are. But you can't like rein it in a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like, it felt really stubborn. So like, you look at this shit in the playoffs and you're sitting there like, man, like this is the same fucking thing as last season. Like the same issues, special teams. Can't do anything. I mean, I'm not going to use the goaltending thing against them this year. Like, it was a really weird one in game 2. But again, we talked about this last week.
If you don't eat after 1:30, like you shouldn't be playing in the next game.
So. Yeah. So, exactly. That's what everyone's saying. But, and again, it's just like, even with Eck out, other guys either just returning from injury or like clearly still injured, you had a 2-1 series fucking lead. It was right there.
Well, and that's what, so twofold for me, I guess, why I don't see the season as a failure, but I see the playoffs as a complete failure.
Yeah.
I picked Dallas in 6. I think Dallas is notedly the better team on paper, on the ice in a lot of ways. Like, they are a very good team that is in a very good position to contend for the cup this year. It's the way you lose. Like, you literally have a commanding 2-1 lead. Like, you trounced them in game 3. You're buzzing. You're coming off perfect. Like, they were competitive in game 4, but then game 5 and 6, flat. Like, just not seeing anything. Like, the team seemed disinterested. And I'm talking about everyone. Like, there's a couple of guys maybe, but the whole team, flat. And the thing that kills me with Dean, no adjustments, nothing. And you can't win in the playoffs doing that. Like, you can get through a regular season and be fine. He's done it. I need to see playoff success. Not even success. I need to see him coach a good series, period.
Yeah. And like, you said it right there too, where they're competitive. I mean, game 4, if not for Ottinger, fucking JoJo ties it up there, the dying fucking like. So at that point, after game 4, you're sitting there like, oh, this is going 7. Like, and both teams are looking at those games like, man, well, other than game 3, where, I mean, that was one of the biggest shit kickings I've seen in the playoffs, especially with Minnesota.
Kicking the other way.
Oh, yeah, that was bad too. Yeah, so there you go. But it honestly felt like both teams like, man, like this went wrong. We're like right here. But it felt like, oh, this is 7. And again, Foligno takes those 2 bad penalties that shouldn't have been penalties that the league, literally apologized for in game 4.
What a weird move, by the way.
They've done that before.
But why?
Like, they've been like,
what's the point of that?
Well, usually the way it goes too is those other that ref won't get the next series, like whatever. It's like there you go. That means the conversation was definitely had with the teams too. But so what do they do after game 4? They bitch about that constantly. Marcus Foligno, first shift in game 5, 5-minute major, game over. Like, it was it. That was done. And like, again, after that game. So Dumba kills Pavelski in game 1. What does DeBoer do after game 1? He's like, we did whatever. He basically was like, we didn't like it, but the ref said this, so we live with it. We move on. Basically, it's what he said, sprinkled in a little salt and pepper. But like, after game 5, Evason, I could not believe it. I was like, you can't just listen to what DeBoer did in game 1 in a somewhat similar situation where you got out. Like, I think the refs made the right call in that instance, but like realistically, they could have fucking went off.
I gotta say, like, nothing but props to DeBoer, the way that he handled some of it, not just after game one, but then
that's a guy that's been coaching in the playoffs for fucking 20 years.
Dude, Evason comes in and he's like, oh yeah, they're diving left and right, whatever. And like,
it's like,
the immediate response from DeBoer is, yeah, I mean, if I was one of the top penalized teams in the league, I'd probably be saying the same thing. Like, I actually think that's a really good coaching job by Dean Everson. It's like, you fucker, with that backhanded compliment. Like, that was the dagger right there. The second he started dropping those in, I'm like, yeah, he won the media battle. He won the ref battle. It's over.
And this is my biggest problem. We're not even sitting here and talking about tactics right now. We're spending 10 minutes talking about how, like, you can't just like calm down for a second.
Be an adult.
Literally, like, so that's the thing for me that's really bugged me about specifically, like, and this isn't new either. Like, this is a thing that's been forever. But like, you look at the fucking just undisciplined, like juvenile, stubborn. You look at that fucking power play, holy stubborn, by the way.
My God.
So that's the thing with me. And like you said, the adjustments, like nothing.
So they don't exist. He then finally.
I'm not sitting here and saying
final elimination game. Oh, I guess we'll switch Johansson and Zuccarello because people want me to make a change. Like, the fuck.
Yeah. So I'm not sitting here. I don't really know how I would feel about should the whole staff just go. Like, I don't know.
I'm not even lobbying for that. I'm just saying the people that think it's ridiculous to consider firing him is also wrong. Like, right. I think he goes into this next season hot seat. Be damned with what happens in the regular season, short of missing the playoffs. But I need to see him coach a competent playoff series. And if he doesn't, get him the fuck out. If he does, good. He learned.
It sure sounds like the guys around him, either all of them or most of them, won't be back based on some of the comments that I was seeing.
At least some.
So, I mean, the special teams, what's his face? I mean, he's fucked. So yeah, I don't think it's crazy, but I wouldn't be like, I'd be like, all right, well, like if they actually ended up, which again, I think he got 2 years left in the contract he just signed.
Yeah, he's well. I mean,
3.
Let's be fair, dude. Sutter got fired before his new contract even kicked in, and they basically gave him $8 million to walk away. So, like,
crazy.
There's no rules, but I feel you. But so you
started with Leopold, dude. Leopold, like, what do you need?
Right.
Hire them? Yeah, I'll pay him, not coach. I don't care.
You need to get rid of a body? Whatever. We got it.
You need a private jet?